Living with a roommate is always a gamble, but I never expected things to unravel the way they did. Our landlord, who owned more than 20 properties, was notoriously unresponsive, which meant we had to rely on each other to make the apartment livable. My roommate Ashley and I used to be close. We shared everything: laughs, late-night snacks, and college stress. But everything changed when Jake entered the picture. At first, Jake was just Ashley's boyfriend who came by occasionally. Then, gradually, he began spending more and more time in our apartment. What started as the occasional overnight stay turned into a constant presence. Days turned into weeks, and soon it felt like Jake lived there full-time. He was using our shower, eating our food, lounging on our couch, and consuming our utilities, without contributing a cent toward rent or bills. The dynamic in the apartment shifted completely, and I began to feel like a guest in my own home. Jake wasn't just freeloading, he was acting like he owned the place. He rearranged our furniture without asking, monopolized the TV, and took liberties with my personal belongings. One day, I came home from class to find him using my laptop. When I confronted Ashley about it, she brushed it off and said his laptop had broken and he needed to apply for jobs. That was the tipping point. I realized I needed to take control of the situation before it spiraled even further. I started keeping a detailed record of Jake's behavior. I noted how many nights he stayed over, documented the messes he left, and even snapped photos of the apartment after one particularly disastrous weekend party he threw while I was away. The place was trashed, wine stains on the carpet, cigarette butts on the balcony, in violation of our non-smoking policy, and a bathroom that looked like it hadn't seen a cleaning supply in a month. When I asked Ashley to help clean and reimburse me for the cleaning products I purchased, she called me petty. Our friendship began to deteriorate. Ashley became distant and defensive, often checking with Jake before making decisions and skipping classes to spend time with him. Every time I tried to bring up the living situation, she dismissed my concerns and accused me of trying to sabotage her relationship. At one point, she even accused me of being jealous. It was insulting and disheartening. I decided it was time to escalate the issue. I contacted our landlord. I wasn't optimistic. He had a reputation for ignoring tenant complaints, but to my surprise, he actually responded. I laid out the situation calmly, explained that Jake was essentially living with us without permission, and highlighted that the lease had a strict guest policy limiting overnight stays to 7 consecutive nights. The landlord agreed this was unacceptable. He said he would send a formal notice so it wouldn't seem like I was the one instigating it. While waiting for the notice, I quietly began exploring other housing options. Some of my friends and I even looked at nearby 3-bedroom apartments. I figured it was smart to have a backup plan, but when the landlord's notice finally arrived, all hell broke loose. Ashley burst into my room, visibly furious, waving the paper in my face and demanding answers. She accused me of going behind her back and trying to get Jake kicked out. She didn't stop to consider that maybe she had been in the wrong all along. According to her, I was petty and vindictive. "I thought we were friends," she said. "I can't believe you would do this to me." I remained calm and reminded her that the lease was clear and I had every right to feel uncomfortable in my own home. I explained that all I wanted was for Jake to contribute or leave. I even offered her a choice: either follow the rules or find a new place to live with him. She stormed out in a rage and didn't return for several days. In her absence, I took the opportunity to reclaim our shared space. I deep cleaned the apartment, restored the furniture to its original layout, and treated myself to new throw pillows. I even changed the Wi-Fi password. I was the one paying for it after all. For the first time in months, the apartment felt like mine again. It was peaceful, quiet, and clean. I hadn't realized just how much stress Jake's presence had added to my daily life. When Ashley finally returned, something had changed. She seemed subdued and tired. She asked if we could talk. To my surprise, she apologized. She admitted that she had been blinded by her feelings for Jake and had ignored how unfair and inconsiderate her actions had been. She told me she needed space to reassess her relationship and her priorities. I was cautiously optimistic. It was a sudden shift, and I wasn't sure how sincere it was, but I told her I appreciated the apology and gave her the space she asked for. Over the next week, Jake didn't come over. I didn't press Ashley for details. I was just grateful for the reprieve. The atmosphere in the apartment improved dramatically. It was like a fog had lifted. Eventually, through a mutual friend, I found out what had happened while Ashley was staying at Jake's place. Apparently, when she suggested that he either start contributing financially or officially be added to the lease, he exploded. He accused her of choosing me over him and called her manipulative for even bringing it up. My friend said Ashley had been deeply shaken by the encounter. That moment of clarity led Ashley to start recognizing other red flags. She realized Jake often belittled her, never paid for anything, and subtly manipulated her into isolating herself from friends and family. He even began snooping through her phone when she wasn't looking. The final straw came when she visited Jake's apartment and talked to his roommates. Contrary to what Jake had told her, they didn't have any issues with him because he was barely ever there. Jake had lied about his living situation to justify freeloading at our place while avoiding his own rent. Ashley broke up with him soon after. She told me the whole story in a long, honest conversation. She said she finally saw Jake for who he really was: manipulative, dishonest, and toxic. She thanked me for standing my ground, apologized for the way she treated me, and admitted that I had been right all along. She even apologized for letting him use my laptop and for accusing me of being jealous. It was the first real, heartfelt talk we'd had in months, but Jake didn't take the breakup well. He started spreading rumors, telling anyone who would listen that Ashley was unstable and had led him on. One night, he even showed up at our apartment drunk and belligerent, demanding to see her. She wasn't home, but I was. I refused to open the door and told him I'd call the police if he didn't leave. He started yelling and pounding on the door, disturbing the entire building. Thankfully, one of our neighbors called the police. They arrived quickly and escorted him away. I filed a police report just in case he tried anything else. After that, Jake vanished from our lives. Both Ashley and I blocked him on everything. I later heard from mutual acquaintances that he'd been evicted from his own apartment for not paying rent and had moved back in with his parents. I wasn't surprised. Since then, things have improved significantly. Ashley has been making a real effort to rebuild our friendship. She's more thoughtful and respectful of our shared space. She's refocused on her studies and has been reconnecting with the friends she neglected during her time with Jake. Our apartment feels like a home again. Our lease is up in a few months, and surprisingly, we're considering renewing it. I'm still keeping my options open. I haven't abandoned my backup plan entirely, but I'm cautiously hopeful. People make mistakes. What matters is whether they learn from them, and Ashley seems to have grown from the experience. Not every story ends this way, and I know I got lucky. To everyone who encouraged me to stand up for myself, thank you. Your support made all the difference. Without it, I might still be living in chaos. Now, I have peace and a much stronger sense of my own boundaries. Things aren't perfect, but I've learned a lot. I've learned how important it is to stand up for myself, to set boundaries, and to value my own well-being above someone else's comfort. I've learned that confrontation, while uncomfortable, is sometimes necessary. I've learned that friendships can be mended if both people are willing to grow. And, most importantly, I've learned not to let anyone, no matter how charming or persistent, disrupt the peace I've worked so hard to create. Ashley and I now have regular check-ins about our living situation. We've even started a little Sunday cleaning ritual where we blast music and tidy up together, like we used to before everything went sideways. It feels good. There's trust again. And although things will never be exactly the same, they're better in a new way. More honest, more mature. We're planning a small end-of-lease celebration with some friends. It's nothing fancy, just snacks, music, and laughter. But for me, it's a symbol of how far things have come from a toxic living environment to a space that finally feels safe and shared again. And if things ever go south again, I know I'll be ready. I'm no longer afraid to take a stand when it matters. So, if you're ever stuck in a situation where your home doesn't feel like your own, where your voice feels drowned out, remember this: you deserve better. You deserve respect. And it's okay to demand it, because sometimes the hardest part isn't dealing with the chaos. It's believing you have the right to stop it. I believed, and that changed everything.